Well, hello everyone. 30 minutes on the waiting screen here, but now we're going to dive into the charts as price pushes up ever closer to all-time highs. Let's pull up trading view here as well. Do have a screen set up now where we can look at both trading view and XO. We'll test it out, see if it's not too squished. But let me just give an update that I am officially live. I should actually share this in the members specific channel as well. All right. I'll give the link one more retweet. Well, I talked about taking this long setup on yesterday's live stream, or last night's. Around here, I started a live stream to catch the breakout. Of course, it didn't come. I just went to bed up here because we gave price an ultimatum. But I woke up right here. So the idea there was, I said, hey, I said it a few times, if price can come down and run this liquidity, because there's a nice order flow idea, I'm gonna add to my longs here. I have some longs from here and longs from lower that I'm still holding, but I added aggressively to longs in here. Order flow was very bullish. I was prepared to add again here. Just so happened I woke up as price ran these levels. And is the target just right at all-time highs? No, but this is where I don't have a limit TP here or anything. I'm going to talk about some ideas of holding for a much bigger move on some of these longs. But let's see how price behaves at all-time highs. There might be short setups. And I'll say this right now, any trade that I take on this live stream is just a trade I'm taking. I'll explain the reasoning why. I'll explain how I'm going to invalidate that trade. No, I have longs coming into this move, really nice longs. So I need to decide, do I want to take head shorts? Do I want to take profits? Why or why not? And so I'm explaining the thought process behind my decisions. I also have some alt longs running still from much lower, and Matic, I'm assuming, is going to run these highs as well soon. This is the daily chart. Nice little back test flipping this previous high. Looking for this big level up here for either a rejection, probably a little smaller wick, or a breakout. But let's focus on Bitcoin. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to look at order flow as we come up into all-time highs. So we're aware that all-time highs are around $69,185, give or take. We have it kind of marked out a little bit on XO. We're aware that from an order flow perspective, the reason we're in this long is, well, this might not mean a lot to many of you, but 178 million volume on this 5-minute candle, 60 million delta. The very idea of coming in, wiping out all the liquidity building up under these 5-minute candles that we talked about last night in the live stream. And even here on the retest, bullish absorption, shorts opening into this level. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I just posted a 4-minute video explaining all of this on Twitter. But shorts opening, another 20 million negative delta at the lows, 46 million volume, a bullish divergence in order flow. I mean, it's, hey, the low time frame version of why you'd want to have gone long down here. Same concepts, lower time frame. Obviously, same concepts as building longs down here, right? Which I took some of these longs, and we've been seeing just really nice bullish absorption before all of these rallies. And look at this on a higher time frame. Look at this selling pressure. Just a lot of evidence that, hey, maybe we don't see a big retracement here before all-time highs. Look at all this liquidity we just wiped out. Look at the relative selling pressure. So all these stops get taken. So then another big sell-off here, bullish divergence. In my view, you got to get long on something like that. Use risk management. I'm always using risk management. You can just take a stop if it doesn't work, but why not try to get long off something like that? Even if you're just paper trading, demo trading, you know, experimenting with those ideas. So anyways, I took that long. Give that update in the Discord this morning as price was down here that I am taking that long. If you were in yesterday's live stream, I think I explained this exact idea pretty well, saying, hey, why would I take this long on this wick? If we see evidence that there's a huge flush in positions, and if you pay attention to order flow at all, that's exactly what this is, right? So, I mean, it's one of our biggest volume, highest delta candles we've seen in many weeks. The only thing that really compares to it is this massive liquidation event we had last week. So, anyways, we're going to be looking at order flow as we break all-time highs. I suspect we'll get some pretty interesting things happening as we push up into this liquidity. I suspect we'll get a lot of volatility. You know, maybe we get some of those monster multi-$100 million candles and big short liquidations. We've been seeing, like I said, a lot of selling pressure into this market selling. So, you know, that's a mix of people taking too aggressive of long positions with too tight of stops and just getting ran out. But there's also some just accumulated selling here as we grind it up. So I'm interested to see what's above the highs. There's two major levels I'm looking at up above, and we'll take a look at those on the trading view chart shortly. Just for a little bit more context here, let's take a look at, this is just the BlackRock IBIT ETF. Saw some really heavy market selling getting absorbed as well. And a little sell-off here, but nothing too crazy in CVD. So we'll see. Might we front run the all-time high again here? And may have started the stream a little too early and we don't take it for some time, possibly. But I think it's reasonable enough to think that we might be heading that way. All right, so what are the ideas here? Well, one, I have some kind of bullish ideas for bigger moves to the all-time highs. I have some ideas for what I'll do if this happens. We just run it and wick through it. So I want to take a look at order flow, in which case that'd be a head short. But I think it makes sense to look at this as a wave 1, 2, 3, looking for a wave 4 correction up into a wave 5. Kind of hard to count this section of the chart any other way. But let's see what happens at all-time highs. I mean, there's a lot of nice extensions up here, but it's going to be a price discovery around 80K. Just given the order flow that we're seeing coming into the all-time highs, with just all the heavy selling getting absorbed, it wouldn't be so shocking to see something like this. another big move. Maybe some fake outs and liquidity grabs and things like that, but I prefer to use shorts as hedges if we do this, because the other possibility is we just see massive liquidity get trapped up here, and then we just run it all and do something like that. That's always possible. Hopefully we'll have evidence that something like that is happening that looks pretty clear before it does. Lots of people will be sidelined on Bitcoin as they've opted to position themselves in alts. You know, there's probably a case to be made. We'll see how Bitcoin dominance behaves, but there's probably a case to be made for seeing like a pretty big move and breakout on Bitcoin dominance as alts just start bleeding against Bitcoin and people are sidelined on Bitcoin, and then money starts pouring into Bitcoin. Don't have to speculate too much about that, but it would be hard to imagine the dynamic would generate something like that. But yeah, let's just see what happens up above. You know, what would it would be like I'd say at all-time highs, you'd maybe be looking for a little bit more extreme version of what was happening just here, even in order flow. Just the 5-minute chart here. As we were making that first push about 0.7% away from all-time highs, see 8.3 million delta, 14 million, 9.2, 10 million delta. Someone's got to be taking the sell side of that. I mean, this is quite a lot of delta sequentially here in a pretty tight area of the chart for price not to have just blown through this level. So, you know, there's some limit selling coming in. But would like to see just something like this, maybe a rejection and another big high positive delta push up, get absorbed, start look for a potential local top to form. Maybe take on a little bit of short risk. Obviously, the hardest thing to trade is just when price wicks straight up, you just have a big monster wick, and then it just comes straight back down with no structure. You can trade around those ideas with order flow, but you got to be really careful and ready to cut your positions and know how to manage your risk in those situations. But I'm excited to see what happens up above. Nice to have some longs running into the breakout locally here, taking some more aggressive lower time frame adds to the long. Certainly not crazy if you're just sitting here at the charts, managing the low time frame positions to not take a stop off of that ad. You can always just re-enter. I mean, ideally, you want to see price carry on higher and not come back through this low. But I'll say this: it's amazing. I made this joke last night because it does happen. I'll start a live stream right before a key level. Same thing happened last night, like right here, and price will just halt, do nothing. Usually, it runs the level as soon as I end the live stream, but it's the live stream curse. So here, price is pumping it up into the all-time highs. Start the live stream. Maybe we'll just range a bit. We'll see. We're also coming up to the New York Open in an hour. But I wanted to explain some context here before we got started, so started a little early. So, someone's saying the stream's a bit quiet. Oh, that surprised me a little bit. I mean, the volume bar is peaking. Maybe I was a little too far from the mic. $72,700. It's the end of wave 2 from my perspective. That's what somebody just said. That's not me saying that. Could be. There's some ideas up here around 72K, which, I mean, 71, 72K. I'm hoping Orderflow gives some clear, Orderflow local structure gives some clear short setups. And clear doesn't mean 100% win rate. It's just a compelling case to short. In the same way that this is a compelling reason to take a local long. I mean, I don't know any other way to put it other than if you understand the dynamics at play in the market and order flow. I mean, this, it's not going to be a guaranteed win. There's no way to know trade is going to win because you're relying on other traders in the market to trade in your favor, but you have evidence of a bunch of liquidity getting grabbed, big traders coming in and sucking up that liquidity. Why would they do that? Well, maybe to push price higher. Why would there be some incentive to drive price down from here, which we talked about on last night's live stream, to grab all that liquidity? I mean, it's the exact dynamic that I explained last night playing out. So for me, that's a compelling long, which means I take the long, add to my position with risk management. That's it. And the same thing's going to apply if I take a short. If I see a compelling reason to take a short, I'll take the short using risk management. And just because I'm taking a short does not mean I have to close every long I've ever taken. Does that make sense? Even if I take some profits on my long. If I'm long from 40K and I want to short here, well, what's wrong with me shorting a rejection and targeting into a bit of a retracement, taking some profits on that, but leaving some longs open, right? What's wrong with that? So nothing wrong with trading on different time frames, different targets. You don't have to be all long or all short on everything at one time. There's an element of hedging there, which is the basic premise of hedging would just be, maybe you have, I'm not even going to talk about technical setups. I'm going to talk about the idea of saying, you know what? I think that we probably are going to 100K. I think we're going to probably have some pullbacks first. So I have longs from lower I want to hold, but I also think that probably before we go to 100K, we're going to see maybe a retest of 55K. I'm just giving random examples here. So you don't, but ultimately I'm targeting 100K. Well, you don't necessarily want to close all your longs from 40K in that case, but you might want to capture some of the value of this idea playing out with shorts and longs, right? So same thing, you know, adding to longs. I could just be long from lower and just be like, I'm targeting to 100K. I don't care. Again, I'm giving hypotheticals, but I do have a long from lower. I took these longs too. I took a bunch of trades in here, though, shorts and longs. But these longs, I could just say, I'm not going to worry about it. Or why not look for opportunities to maybe add to my position, take profits, add back to my position, and keep adding with defined risk, right? Because the price isn't likely to move in a straight line, and you can probably find lots of nice ideas along the way. And I'm going to keep trading nice ideas, by my definition, if we break out of all-time highs. I mean, it's not all over for me if this happens. I'm going to look for structure. I'm going to look to trade. If we start developing bearish structure, I'm going to look to maybe start adding to shorts. If that's looking kind of bearish, start adding to longs. You get the idea. So what would I be looking for on a big breakout? Like I said, around 80, 81K, looking for this wave 3 to finish. You know, I probably lean towards that direction. I wouldn't be surprised to see some volatility here. I wouldn't be surprised to get a short trigger here and then just get stopped out. I'm okay with getting stopped out. That's probably what I think is most likely to happen. But then, you know, come back down. We'll see where the high comes in here. Something like this makes a little bit of sense to me. Calling this a wave 2, wave 3. A couple of fib extensions overlapped here. Maybe come back down at the big point of control of our range, which was really important resistance to claim. It's right around here. POC I haven't marked out. This high volume area. I'll align with the 618 of wave 2 to wave 3 if we reject from here. Be lots of, you don't even have to short the top, right? You just, you can just look for a rejection, looking for some kind of corrective structure to the downside. Short a lower high, equal high. And this would be the big long idea up for a wave 5. If we get it. It's the same thing last night on a low time frame when I said, I'm not saying that price will come down and take these local lows before it breaks out. But what I'll say is I could understand some of the dynamics that could make that happen. And I'm just going to long it if it does. That's it. I just have a plan to long it if it does. I can say, see how that liquidity could be resting there and be targeted. And if it comes, I'm going to take the long. What's kind of crazy when you're on Twitter, someone says my mic is cutting out. Whatever. What's kind of crazy when you're on Twitter, if somebody else agrees it's cutting out, then well, maybe, I actually don't even know what I could do. But if you share something on Twitter and you say, hey, I'd be interested in longing this level, they'll say, oh, you're such an idiot, I'm unfollowing you. That's such bad analysis. That's a crazy thing to react to. If I say I'm not in an asset, I just say, if I get this set up, I'm going to long it. That's all it is, right? Set alerts. You can have a ton of charts. Preparing ahead of time for the types of ideas, whatever the time frame is you're interested in trading. And if you get the trade set up, you take it. If you don't get the trade set up, you don't take it because you can't. You didn't get the setup. And you plan other trades. Does that make sense? Hopefully. So, when somebody sees me say, if we reject from here, bear structure, maybe I'm going to be in shorts. And at some point, if this all happened, I'd post that I'd be looking for swing longs at this level around 47K. And people will lose their shit. Price will never go to 47K. Well, then I won't get a long there, will I? I'll look for new longs, different setups. But if price comes down to here, I'll take that long. Spend enough time on Twitter with enough followers and you're going to run into the price will never crowd a lot. And price frequently does the thing it will never do. It depends. Somebody's asking, when you add to a position, do you literally add to an existing position or open another position on a different sub-account with a different stop loss, etc., if they're at a similar price? I'll just say this. It doesn't actually matter. Like, I might have a swing account where I take high time frame trades. I might end up adding to my positions on another account because I do separate the time frames of my accounts. But it doesn't matter, really. What's the difference? You're going to, it can make your position a little easier to manage, but you can separate stop losses anyways. So I could have, let's just easy math, $10 position here with a stop here. I could add another $10 here with a different stop here. Yes, it would give me an average entry difference, but that's just psychological. There's no different. I still have an average entry if I did it on two separate accounts. It just isn't shown on the chart. But if I added my positions together and the entries, I could average the entry and it would be the same as the one that I'm getting trading on the same account. So it really doesn't matter. It's just whatever is easier to manage. I find it's easier just to separate the higher time frame ideas from the lower time frame ideas and not sit there, staring at all your swing positions all day. I used to do, I do the occasional New York Open live stream. There's been times where, you know, I want to cover different concepts, and I've gone live on almost every New York live stream. I mean, I don't even know how many members live streams I have done, but there was times where I was doing them almost every week. But, you know, somebody asked, can you start making lives every day for 2 hours on the New York opening market? I mean, probably not. I live update everything in the members Discord that I'm doing, all my plans, order flow. Sometimes I go live. I mean, this is what live streams are great for, is live streams are great for context, right? Like actually reading things live in context. And you know, it's really hard to, that's why I do the live updates in the Discord as well. It's really hard to take a concept that is explained, say in a video. If I go back and we say, it's valuable. If I go back and I say, look at this example of this, say we're looking at order flow here, and I'm explaining the bullish order flow down here in a video. Yes, you could understand the concepts, but seeing it live and having it explained to you live is a much different idea. So that's why I give the frequent live updates on Discord. And that's why I like to do live streams, especially during the most interesting moments in the market. But let's, for example, this is the Discord this morning. So said, woke up a couple minutes ago, spoke about this little scalp long idea on the live stream after wiping out this liquidity. Just happened to wake up right there. I said I just took it. 178 million volume, 58 million delta on first wick. Second screenshot is this wick. And I just took it because I updated it quickly. But these are all concepts I explain in the educational content, in all this stuff and all the other stuff. So the live updates are to build on that, right? To show live market examples. So anyways, these really unique moments in the market too, cool to go live on when, you know, there's not, I mean, in a sense we're applying principles up here because we don't have a lot of key levels above all-time highs. We have the all-time high, we have some extensions. But the principles that you could apply to order flow should be relevant. Obviously, wacky things can happen, and I mean, we could just go up only, but let's see. That's called ExoCharts, that software you just saw. I mean, I don't think there's much point in getting in the nitty-gritty low time frame here. We could say things like, okay, well, here's a little low time frame SR flip happening. I personally, I'm not saying you can't trade any other way. I know all of these were, for example, GP retracements. I did scalp a little bit more into my positions here. I basically compounded on this really low time frame. Hey, I'm kind of bullish, but I've taken that risk out. So is what it is. Got to do something while you're waiting for all-time highs. But the point being, I like to build my positions down at support. I'm looking for a move up. Is there reasonable ideas for different styles of trading where you're looking for, what am I doing? Nice. Something like a reclaim of this level with a stop under here, a stop under here, managing it into all-time highs. Yeah, there probably is some ideas there, but I like to add into my positions where the risk reward is the most compelling. and I can only take on so much risk, right? I can't add long, add long, add long, add long, add long, add long, because I'll just build up way too much risk in the position and then get wiped out. So anyways, the point is, I'm not going to be building cases for longs as we approach here. I'm in longs that I already had planned out. And I'm just waiting to see how price reacts at the all-time highs. Better just to prepare nice clean levels and execute. But we'll see. Because, I mean, why not? Why can't we just do this? Run all the lows again. Do I think that's the most likely scenario? No. I am long. We are claiming this level and almost there. I don't know why people, Gerard's just saying he totally missed me going live. People in the Discord, Ro was saying that too. Last night he missed that I went live. I literally posted 10 times. Not 10 times, like 3 times. I'm going to go live soon. I'm live. Here's the link going live. I tag everyone. I post it on Twitter. I posted another time. I've posted it now in both channels. And then people say, I never saw you were going live. It's like, well, I don't know. Maybe notifications turned off. Only so much I can do for those who want to be on the live stream, to make people aware that I am in fact going live. But people also just ask for things in the Discord or questions of the thing I just talked about 5 minutes before in the updates channel. So I don't know, maybe people just don't click on the updates channel. Oh yeah, I'm not blaming you. I'm just curious what it is. It's just weird. Because I don't know how to I don't know how else to do it. But all right. Someone's asking, missed the first few minutes. What is the time frame you are seeing this going to 77 to 80K? I mean in a week, or going to take 2 to 3 weeks? I have no idea. And I'm only explaining that as a possibility if we start claiming here. But as soon as we move into this void of the charts, which is all-time highs, I mean, there's no structure. Price could go straight there. We could range for 2 weeks. We'll get more information up there, but how could I predict what the next 1 to 2 weeks of price action will be above all-time highs and how long it will take to come up here? And does it really matter? You know, if I say 1 week and then 2 weeks from now price is here, am I going to say, well, I said 1 week, it's now 3 weeks, so this is all invalid? I don't know. I mean, there's not really any point. I could start pulling fib time and channels and looking for intersections and things like that. And I mean, it's not the first time that I will have found the level around the date, but I don't really feel that compelled to do that right now. I mean, because we're not above all-time highs yet, and we haven't broken out and claimed all-time highs. Like, there's gonna be plenty of time to do all of that. So, you know, why spend too much time trying to do a magic trick when here we are? Let's see what's about to happen. I like that idea, Scott. He says we'll hit the 81K target after I land in Bogota and get checking into Airbnb and on Wi-Fi. look at the active trader Pepe updates, I'm being told. It's just a channel for members in the Discord, but not all members have the role. You have to be given the role as an active trader. Not really seeing it actually, but what I will do, somebody asked about my thoughts on Pepe. This is the 1 hour Pepe chart. I mean, Pepe's been incredibly technical, just the perfect clean uptrend, flipping levels, SR flip, flipping levels on the low time frame. Nice. I mean, even here, flip. These are really nice moves. 20%. Flipping level, retest, wick this level. These just all could have been nice, clean, long setups. I'm starting to form some ideas of, it'd be nice to maybe take a little more liquidity up here. We have a big high volume area up above that we're rejecting from. Let me try to get this pulled across there. Price is kind of flirting with it. Maybe we hold this range, take these highs. What I'd be interested in, maybe come and wipe out all this liquidity. This would be a pretty interesting long to me. I don't really like influence of this fib. I have some alerts set down there. I don't know how likely it is per se. At some point the liquidity is probably going to get wiped out on Pepe. So I'm just preparing for it. Looking for something like this back into this pivot low. Be a pretty interesting long to me. There's probably some ideas too of maybe looking for some tight invalidation shorts. Nothing wrong with not wanting to short the strongest thing in the world, but it's all just risk reward, risk management. I could give two shits if I short it and get stopped out. I'll say this. People say, why would you short the strongest coin? I short the strongest coin all the time, have for years. It's EV positive. I've shorted the top of so many coins. I don't care if I take a stop. I'm not assuming any one trade is going to work. In fact, I'll plan on taking this Pepe short. If I get a trigger, it's fine enough for me. Let price range here a little bit. We sweep these highs, reject into the 786. Certainly some evidence, at least on a low time frame, some of the momentum is shifting into consolidation here. Try a liquidity grab. The other idea would be if we just break out of here, a sweep up the all-time high. So, but and I'm not saying this trade would work or will work, but I'm just saying that people would say if you took this short, or price breaks out of there and doesn't reject and just goes straight up, or took this short and trade it down into these lows, people will say that's insane and almost like you predicted the market. Structurally, at least the way I trade, it's such an easy short to take because your invalidation is so easy. The structure is actually quite clear. If we reject from here, this is a range essentially that's forming, right? We've 1, 2, 3 range lows. We have our initial range high. This would be our initial pivot high. A move up like this would be kind of a retest of this high into the 786. The trigger would be a rejection back below these highs. Yes, you could definitely make a case for just you should be taking profits down to this range low. Why not? If we break down this range low, well, now we're into no structure zone. Why not move down into this low? And of course, it will sound crazy to short Pepe, and the targets will sound crazy, and all these things will sound crazy up here. But tell me this. What is so crazy about Pepe retracing 38%? Like I'm not saying it will, but if you think it's insane that Pepe could retrace 38%, you've become delusional in the market. You've lost sight of what is possible or what is likely with all of these coins pumping hundreds of percent, right? That you think it will never come back down. There won't ever be a liquidation event. So those are my thoughts on Pepe. And the idea of these shorts, well, why are they compelling to me? Well, into the range low, I mean, to these lows, they're 17 to 1. This trade's 20 to 1. So you get some pretty damn good odds on your short. It's the risk reward ratio. For every dollar you risk, you make $19. Pretty nice. Even into the range lows, we're looking at 8 to 1. So you just put on the risk, and the trade either works or it doesn't. Yeah, Scott saying XRP high time frame breakout attempt. Yeah, I mean XRP on the daily chart. Look at these nasty, nasty wicks. Nice little sweep of this high. I think we're outside of the GP here. Some local highs on the daily chart, getting some reactions around them. I don't know. I mean, XRP probably heading up into these highs at some point. Could also just retrace. Also a very quick little retest here, SR retest. Probably the nastiest thing XRP did for people was this. Just instantly running all this liquidity, taking all these lows. I mean, this happened in a couple minutes. 16%, wiping out all these stops and then just going up. You know, why does price do that? Well, it doesn't like to let people participate or one, take profits on their positions, two, participate in these moves. Because why let them participate when you can just use them for liquidity? So there's probably going to be a, you know, same idea on Pepe maybe. There's going to be a lot of longs built up in here that just aren't taking profits. Maybe they've trailed stops or kept adding with leverage and built up a huge position with liquidations down here, thinking that, you know, $77 trillion market cap's on its way. And then why not just boop, wick out everybody? Oh, nobody's playing anymore. Anyways, either happens or not. But I'm going to probably look for longs down there if it does. Link kind of doing something similar. Yeah, I can glance at the FET chart really quick. FET ranging, running into the 1618 extension here. I mean, structurally, again, I'm not saying it will come, but it's a crazy idea to start looking at this as a range. Probably not. Look at the volume on this candle. It's not so surprising seeing the quick reaction here, but I mean, yeah, probably a lot of liquidity to get chopped up. Lots of people want to get long for the next leg up on FET. Come run it all. You know, you could probably find a nice tight invalidation long setup, wiping out the liquidity. I'm not saying it will come down and take all these lows, but you have something like this maybe. Long stop. If we break down, look for some of these lows to get taken. And just understand that if you're watching this and and let's just say FET goes to $5 tomorrow. Oh, I also have a predictive fib level up here. Wouldn't worry too much about that. I just have an alert set at it. I'm gonna look at it if it comes, but and it goes to $5 tomorrow. I'm not saying that do whatever you want, take on the risk you want, take on the entries you want. I just don't really care what FET does without a clean setup for me. Because what's my play here? Just long, and you know, where's my stop? Is it down here? Why am I long here? What's the idea? Not that there wasn't any low time frame longs in here, but I just haven't been paying attention to them. And then some people will say, well, don't use a stop. Even if it goes down 20, 30, 40%, it's going to go back up to all-time highs. Maybe. I'd rather just be patient, well-planned, disciplined, take some clean entries. We'll pop over and look at a couple of the alts being brought up here. I actually want to look at this chart as well. Got a little some old charting in here. It's very similar to the FTM long setup on FIL file. Structure's a little different, but coming back down into this POC, taking a long down here, reclaim. This is the next idea. Yeah, I mean, it either breaks out of these highs or it doesn't. Not a lot of structure above if it does. I mean, price probably a little more choppy. Oh man, the live stream curse is real. We fire up that long live stream and then Bitcoin just stalls completely. Let's get into the all-time highs here, and don't make me sit live for endless hours. Yeah, let's take a look at Orderflow. That's the title of the stream. That's the point of the stream. Nothing too crazy. I mean, we had this 7.4 million delta candle here on the breakout. 2.6 million, 2.6 million selling delta, 2.8 million. But the price has been really willing to just punish little local longs like this. Oh, you got long, 12.7 million delta. Let's flush it out. Boop. People, yeah. But anyways, even up here, 5 million, 2.7 million. And why is it doing that? Well, hey, if people are willing to get it long or have their invalidation be super close locally here, why not come grab that liquidity? Little choppy consolidation. And so the same dynamic applies here. If, for whatever reason, the people who have gotten long here have just all piled their stop losses and invalidation under these lows, maybe to add to their positions, well, why not come in, whoop, wipe out that liquidity? It's just a lower time frame. We'll see if there's liquidity there, and maybe it's lower, but same idea as this, right? If people are willing to pile up all this liquidity under these local lows on the 5-minute chart in this price action, why not come wipe it all out? And then what happens? We get 176, 78 million volume candle with 60 million delta. And the only reason that happens is because people long up in this uptrend are trailing stops, probably compounding, adding, taking on huge positions, huge risk, and a bunch of people get liquidated or stopped out. Yeah, we got 20 minutes to the New York Open. See if all the iBidders are getting back long. Yeah, someone's saying 64,400. Josh is. Looks good to retrace one last time. I wouldn't disagree that there actually is kind of some nice ideas, just nice levels to come and take these lows. And retest this high, completely fill out these wicks. The only thing is, whether it happens or not, we don't know, but I mean, we had so much liquidity built up here and get sucked up here, kind of got to get long. But I would long, I mean, if that came, I would long that as well. Looking for a little bit of strength off these wicks maybe. But I probably lean towards us front running these lows. Doesn't make me not interested in them. I think we do have our GP from here as well, from the little pivot low before the impulse. So I'll align there. But we'll see. Maybe it comes, maybe it doesn't. I was looking at it too, but I had to get long on this because of the just the sheer amount of liquidity and bullish absorption. Be interesting to see what happens here, how much liquidity is there. Maybe we come and run these lows, maybe we don't. We'll see. We can even just have price targeting I don't know, targeting just some of this here. We'll see. 3.5 million negative delta. Nothing crazy. Just a little bit of local liquidity here so far. The price wants to come run some lows. range here. Yeah. Gerard says consolidate 2 weeks here. Well, if I stay live for 2 weeks, I'm sure we will. We'll consolidate in a 0.5% range. All jokes aside, New York Open's coming. We'll see. I mean, whether we break all-time highs or we run all these lows, probably something interesting is going to happen. But I'm going to take a quick leak, and then I'll be back. This live stream is it's good practice, right? Most of a trader's time is just spent sitting around doing nothing, sitting in positions or waiting for positions. Trading isn't sitting here, click, 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 open, close, long, short. Uh-oh, it's going green again, long. If we break this level on the 1 second chart, I'm back short. I mean, it can be that actually, if you're scalping. But I don't think that's very relatable. And if any of you guys are trading that way, you're probably getting wrecked. Well, local lows here taken. Nice, a little reaction off this negative delta here. You see on the bid ask. Some little local longs wiped out. Little reaction. Maybe see those same positions start pouring into the market as they reopen after getting stopped out. And hey, why not just keep running those little local lows? I mean, eventually price needs to pick a direction, but Akis asks, at global market, what is your view? Everything is pumping. It's a trap. Many think coming at 24. Many things coming at 24. By 24, do you mean the year? 2024? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't really like necessarily using the language of like the market is a trap. It's gonna trap everyone. It ain't gonna trap me. We'll see. We'll just see what happens. I mean, like for example, there's definitely bearish ideas and bullish ideas, right? There's usually some evidence as ideas get more bullish that that's going to be the case, or more bearish that that's going to be the case. Of course, sometimes there's less evidence than you would like, but I mean, a very long time ago, believe it or not, I was looking for longs down in these lows, right? I had a couple levels marked out as super important. I mean, I'd shorted this level and I shorted it again. This is on the daily chart. But the structures that I was watching, let's get rid of this big guy. Structures like this, right? These highs. And so my view was pretty straightforward, which was, hey, this is resistance until it's not, and if it's claimed, then you kind of got to start getting maybe a bit more bullish, looking for this high to be taken. And if that high is claimed, well, there's no structure here. I mean, I showed this many times. And so instead of saying, oh, this move's a trap or whatever, I mean, you could start leaning towards, well, if we start claiming this structure, then probably got to start looking to 48K. And I took that short. Also took a long in here because we had really big bullish absorption. But the idea being that this is resistance, but where's the resistance here? There's some kind of minor levels you could look to trade around, but if we claim this POC and this level, well, why would you not just start looking towards all-time highs as major target, right? And so that's how I whether it's a trap, I don't know. I mean, price could reject from all-time highs, and I guess we could call that a trap. But the way that I would like to frame it is, it's an important level, all-time highs. Is price claiming it, or is price rejecting from it? And if it's claiming it, well, why be bearish on especially the high time frame until it at least loses it? So, I mean, there's a lot of structural levels you can use for context, and just, you know, long up into levels. If you're getting a rejection, you're going to get a short, maybe take some profits. If that level's getting reclaimed, well, then you can start taking longs up and towards the next setup, looking for clean long setups. And, you know, that's why I don't like the idea of, like I said this as price was pushing up into this level, and there's a level at around 57.7K. It's been much time there, little range, which is just, I'm willing to take shorts here, but if we claim that level, then I'm willing to take longs, right? And I did end up with, and so the idea is, well, maybe you don't get the long from the exact bottom of every move, but we broke out of this level. We started forming a range with big bullish absorption here, and I got longs from the lows of the range. Just made, I took some shorts on the local highs of the range. We were here for about a week, took some longs, and we came out of the range with huge bullish absorption, and there's nice long setups there. So no harm done. Get back long, same thing, breaking out of here. And that's how I'm going to be approaching the charts always, is I'm not going to hold a bearish bias like you see some accounts doing on Twitter, indefinitely calling everything a trap, never having an idea to get long no matter what happens. Same thing, never, you know, depending on what happens up here, never having an idea to get short no matter what happens would be a mistake in my view. All right, let's keep an eye on this New York action here. And like I said a little earlier, hey, why not, you know, you run these longs, wick them out in the local lows, you see them reopen right back up, why not just run them again? I'm not saying it would happen, but that's the kind of thing you start seeing as people take these tight stops, get stopped out, price reacts, that liquidity is grabbed, they reopen, and they just keep making that same error in their local setup there. Gerard says if they would have joined the LITF, they would not long tops. Yeah, well, sometimes, you know, people get away with it. I'm not saying there's no such thing as breakout trading and that you can't do it profitably. But I would say that price has such a way of just not breaking out for the like it gives trigger after trigger after trigger after trigger after trigger, and so you got to be definitely patient and selective about those longs. I mean, who would have thought that longing into this 0.5% away from the all-time highs would have resulted in a liquidity flush, right? The market's pretty unforgiving for those types of trade setups. Be interested to see what kind of volatility we get right into the New York Open. 5 minutes. Take a quick look at, say, if I clean up some of these charts on the daily. Kind of grinding down into these levels, but nice nice little wick off the SR flip there. I'm just curious where this falls. Got some structure to break down. I'm not saying price will, but I mean, we're kind of starting to form this sort of rounded, grindy structure, which is also actually something I would look for if I was interested in breakdown shorting or breakout longing. And looking for like this type of deal, for this to resolve bearishly. As you can see, this kind of rounded grinding structure usually likes to end in an impulse that can be to the upside or the downside. It can be a little tough to time these because you get these big wicks running through all the upside liquidity. But the trade probably looks something like this. But at the same time, we're at support. So what's the idea of like a breakdown or breakout trading? Well, instead of longing at support, like you might have off of this wick, you're deciding to short a breakdown of support. Have an 8% stop loss, so you'd have to size it pretty small to keep your risk intact. But what I would maybe prefer, I could say this is how I like to look at things. Maybe I don't need to short say. Maybe there's other setups that are a little cleaner. Maybe I could just look to long it if I get this. The idea would be, well, break this structure down, flip it back to resistance. Maybe that's a short setup, but whether it is or isn't, look for all these lows to be taken, this wick, and look to get long on say down here. And again, for many, this will seem like, what? That's never going to happen. I'm never going to get a long on say if I wait for that. Then long something else. I mean, I don't care what you do. For me, I'm not planning on being in the market for the next 3 days. I'll be here for a while. So I'd rather just take really quality setups because charts are going to provide them all the time. Be prepared for those higher time frame levels and seizing opportunities like this. I don't need to FOMO, and I'm in lots of long trades. For example, I took this Matic long with that same thing in mind, right? It's up almost 65%. Coming and taking these lows. And I took, I mean, I could just show you tons of longs, but I'm not going to. But well, I'll make the point. And the point is that I don't really care what does have a big move down to key support level, high probability, high risk reward level to long. This was a short if we rejected, which we didn't. I didn't take a short there, but this long on FTM, same thing. I mean, I planned this long on the daily chart up here, right? Price needed to come down 40%. And at the time, none of this had happened. I said, I'd be interested in longing this. There's some key levels here. Longing it up into these highs, holding if we break out. I only have a small amount of this FTM long left. This was a 50% move. And I took a big trailed TP off of it on this. This got me. Because my target was up here. I was going to hold for a breakout. And I trailed some profit taking underneath this high. And I got wicked out of it. That's fine. I have a bit of it running. I've got a really nice setup off that. But anyways, the point is being patient, waiting for that level, executing it if I get it, getting in a great position. At some point, the market is going to present you some great opportunities. And you'll either be prepared for them or you won't. That's as simple as that. That's right, Hash. Hash says, ladies and gents, 109 viewers but 16 likes. What gives, emoji? You can do better. Give this man the credit he deserves. 100. GM and have a great day, you degens. Come on. I mean, he's not wrong. Let's go to the top of trending on YouTube. Yeah, we'll take a look at order flow. A little bit of bearish absorption forming, actually. Just locally, nothing crazy. Nothing high delta, but all we're seeing here is, you know, some of these longs reopening. This guy's probably getting liquidated again. But again, longs kind of wanting to reopen at market here. And we're just seeing little, ever so slightly. Nothing really actionable, depending on the time frame you're trading. But I'm pretty sure most of you aren't trading this time frame. But ever so slightly, we're starting to see a little bit of signs of absorption here locally. What might that mean? Well, maybe somebody's looking to push price into another quick liquidity run here in the New York Open. Maybe not. It's kind of neutral, but we're seeing some buying pressure being held down. I'm not going to be trading around it. Akis, who asked earlier if I could live stream every day for 2 hours, I assume public live stream, says, you are now a streamer. You don't want to stream every day. But I believe if people could see you every day, they will enter the LAFT. It's the LATF, Lucky Apes Trading Floor. Maybe. But I don't want to, I mean, personally, I don't want to sit on a public live stream every day for hours. That's just not how I don't, believe it or not, I don't sit and stare at the charts all day. I plan out my trades and I execute them. And I actually do other stuff with my time in my day. I have other things to do. It can be informative. It can be interesting. We can learn a lot sitting here and analyzing live price action. And a live stream, of course, is the only way to do that. I can give updates, of course, in the Discord, but and you don't know when key things are going to happen. So, me willing to sit down for some time on a live stream, especially when there's a higher probability that something interesting happens, I think is good. But I'm not going to sit and commentate on live price action every single day. There's plenty of other ways to learn, and you can come into the, if it interests you, come into the LADF Discord, give it a shot, and you'll be getting updates all day, every day, when relevant things happen, explain these concepts, and there's lots of educational material explaining them. If not, that's fine too. But yeah. Price may be grinding down a little bit here. It's all just local, I'll say local bullshit. I mean, price could actually run some nice liquidity off of this, but nothing major here in terms of bearish absorption locally. Just people getting chopped up, some evidence of somebody sitting up here with a limit sell order, trying to run price into who knows where. But what we could find, you literally have no idea till it happens, is there's a monster amount of liquidity right down here, and then it could make sense why somebody would absorb a little bit of buying pressure to run price into it. Also, nothing like that might happen, we'll see, but we can note whatever details there are to take away from this. That's kind of what's happening here. It's nothing super actionable, I don't think. Do you think it's probably for alts to follow suit when if Bitcoin breaks all-time highs? For example, I'm short XTZ paper right now. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that chart. I mean, typically alts are pretty heavily correlated to Bitcoin, but you know, sometimes, like we've seen, alts can really pump while Bitcoin is ranging. I think there's theses for Bitcoin to have a big breakout, and you could say suck up a lot of liquidity, and alts really bleed against Bitcoin. I mean, there's even, like, the most probably devastating thing to happen to alts would be something like we break out of all-time highs and price just starts ripping. Just ripping, blast through all-time highs, blast through 80k, blast through 100k, it's at 150, it's at 170, and it just doesn't stop. And then all the nightmares of Bitcoin's going, well, the nightmares for the people who aren't positioned on it, of Bitcoin going to $1 million, just start flooding into their heads, and alts just get obliterated. I'm not saying that's the most likely scenario, but if Bitcoin just starts running with no sign of weakness, and you could imagine a scenario where money starts moving from alts to Bitcoin as more and more people are trapped in alts that just aren't going anywhere, and the alt economy kind of dies. All these random alts. And Bitcoin really does just take over with a huge market cap surge. Dominant surge. And what would something like that look like? Again, I'm not saying it's likely. I'm just giving you guys a scenario. So don't pull out your pitchforks on me. But on a high time frame, well, it looks like this. We start going up into 2017, 2016 levels of Bitcoin dominance. We start breaking out of this structural area of the chart. breaking out of this structural area of the chart. And everyone thinks to themselves at the end of it all, they say, why the fuck did I have every dollar I own in Pepe meme coin in 2024, right before Bitcoin took over the world? I'm just giving you guys some Bitcoin maximalist propaganda here. I don't think there's any reason to interact with the market that way. I'm just giving you a fun extreme example of what could happen. But wouldn't it be ironic if all these people super into crypto got left sitting in just dying meme coins that went to zero and are just sitting at zero with their hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, as some of these more, let's say, respectable coins, maybe Bitcoin, ETH, a few more, are just pumping straight up, and the world just moves on from these kind of altcoin things, and all the people who were first into crypto, whatever, they're just all sitting with worthless portfolios that never go anywhere. That's what I sit up at night and think about. Next question. How do you feel about SHIB? Just kind of a funny question to jump to after that. How do I feel about SHIB? Oh, look, Pepe is dumping. My prophecy is coming true. All right. We can look at SHIB really quick. I'm gonna probably be hopping back over to Bitcoin right away, but it's kind of the same thing as everything else. I mean, I don't. Do I believe in any of these coins? I don't even believe in Bitcoin really. I mean, there's a case for it. There's a bullish case. There's a bearish case. Just like anything, SHIB's pumping to all-time highs. Well, towards all-time highs. Actually, we have some nice little structure here that we just swept. We're going to get back to Bitcoin really quick. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. When somebody asks me, what do you think of this coin? I think it's going up. I mean, if I'm going to do analysis on it, and if I want to get long on it, well, I'm going to start just kind of getting a sense of the structure, where the liquidity might be lying at any given moment. Maybe start looking for longs, maybe come run some of these levels. But for example, it doesn't really matter. I know this is going to go against the common wisdom of some of you here. What I think a coin is going to do, I could say, you know what, I think it's going to go up another 300%. I'm still going to wait for a clean long setup with invalidation and good risk reward. I mean, I have ideas of Matic pumping much, much higher. Looking for something like this as the much more bullish scenario. I'm long from here. Price is up, closing in on 70% from my entry. And I want to see, is price claiming this level? Maybe I'll start looking to add to my longs here if it is. Just start targeting up through these highs. That's still another 100% move. But I have to wait to see if price is claiming these levels or not. Because if we sweep and reject them, there's also just bearish ideas of having a bigger retracement here. So, I mean, there's always, and price can claim these levels and break down, but you get the idea, right? Adapting my my perspective based on what the chart's doing, charting out my levels. So, all right, here we go. All-time highs. We're long, we're strong. Nothing's happening in order flow really. 3.9 million delta. Definitely would assume that there's much more liquidity up above. This kind of yellow box just sort of represents where all-time highs starts. On Bitcoin, a little bit of a initial liquidity zone here, 80K above. Pretty open. I'm open to taking shorts if I get a trigger, but I probably lean towards a pretty strong move, maybe some volatility around here up through the all-time highs, just because of the nature of the bullish absorption here. But kind of nice of Bitcoin to wait for the New York Open, so those in North America can participate in whatever happens here, which also might just be an opportunity to get wrecked for many. But again, just long. Happy to take profits if it makes sense, and sometimes I'm not going to have I'm not going to have a really clear idea. I would always defer on the side of taking profits, making money, if nothing's clear. Am I going to take profits if price just goes straight up through this level and never stops coming down? No, I'll just hold for weakness. But we're about to find out what this all-time high liquidity is made out of. 7.8 million. I mean, really, just got to say, didn't everyone just make millions of dollars on alts? Nobody's that interested in longing into this potential all-time high breakout here. This is some pretty weak volume. Let's get into, let's keep an eye on IBIT as well here. Man, IBIT just coming into the New York Open with a big market selling profile here. Big sell off on IBIT's open. Just gets all absorbed and price starts pumping. Would you look at that? I don't know why people are so aggressively selling into this. I mean, no one thinks all-time highs are going to actually happen, I guess. But it's all getting absorbed, which is bullish. Which is why we're long. And just preparing for some volatility here. And like I said, I'm going to defer on the side of taking profits if I get a reason to do so. But there's just something about just running through this whole area of the chart that seems pretty fun. Just seems like there's been so much aggressive selling into the all-time highs. We'll need to form a strong bias now. We're going to find out. I don't really care what's happening here. We could reject and keep ranging at the local highs again. But it's just not, I mean, come on. There's no liquidity here. You had 170 million volume in this 5-minute candle. 60 million negative delta. I would assume the big boys are pushing price up through all-time highs here. Tap some of that liquidity. No reason not to. Gotta keep an eye on IBIT too. But it's just so interesting to see on the open people just dumping into the market, selling into the open on the BlackRock ETF. All getting absorbed into a big candle. I'm going to really enjoy using this data, I think. It just looks so actionable. Again, need more data, but I'm using it as a confluence for now. Because this should be so clean and theoretically easier to spot institutions in this data, as they don't have so many ways to hide their true intentions. Where when you're looking at like all these unregulated exchanges, they can get a little more creative. But here, you know, you don't have that many options for hiding your intention. So anyways, in the weeks, months to come, we're going to be paying more and more attention to that order flow on these ETFs. Now let's do a quick recap as we push into all-time highs. Why are we long out of here several times? Long into bullish absorption, long into a retest here. If I traded weekends, god damn, I'd be long in here too. Such massive bullish order flow here. Actually very similar to down here, right? We've already pointed that out. Everyone should be getting the clue here. It's not a sure thing, but put on a long, use risk management. You can always stop it out if it's not working. In this range, big bullish absorption, big bullish absorption. And then from last night, 178 million volume, 60 million delta candle, 20 million delta, big bullish divergences again. We're pushing up to all-time highs. People are just market selling like madmen for some reason, all throughout here, unloading their positions, probably some shorting going on too, getting absorbed like crazy, and here we are. So we've been adding. We added today, and we want to get paid, so we're also willing to take profits. And we aren't degens, we aren't R words. So we aren't, I'm not longing here. I planned out my longs, I'm long. I'd like to get paid. Is it crazy to long here? Probably not. I mean, you can use risk management, but I already planned to long the lows. You could try breakout longs here. Try a long, put your stop under this consolidation, risk 1%. I'm not saying you specifically, I'm just using you. Is it colloquially? Colloquially you? Try for the big breakout. These ideas are perfectly reasonable in some sense, but are they up? I mean, whatever. I'm not going to go into it that much. I don't care. I'm long. I do like to touch on other styles of trading too, but I'll save that for another time. Okay. 78 million delta at the highs here. That is nothing. We're looking for those big monster multi-$100 million candles, maybe. 20, 30, 40 million delta. Give us something crazy into the all-time highs. And if we start breaking and chopping around and claiming the all-time highs, and there's just no liquidity being tapped up here, then I'm just going to say probably price is going to go higher. There's a nice little pop, 7.7 million delta. As price nears the all-time high. We're almost there. Almost topping our highs from last night. Decrease in open interest. There's going to be shorts getting stopped out there. People with their shorts at the local highs. Now, this might be... We're at the point where things could get a little frustrating in terms of wanting to live stream the breakout, which is we start seeing a few more of these 8 million, 9 million, 10 million get absorbed, and we could just rotate back into the local lows. I'm just similar to this, right? As people just continue to get chopped up. I don't think that's likely, by the way. I'm just saying we'll see what happens here. We don't want to see too many of these start getting absorbed. Because in order for somebody to have, let's just put this in perspective. This candle had 828K positive delta, 670K, 462K, 940K in these ticks. This little tick had 7.7 million, 3.1 million. So for whatever reason, it seems a little ill-advised to me, but I'm not going to judge because I don't know how big of a trader they are. Maybe they can hold down the whole market. Somebody's limit selling into this buying pressure here. Are they opening shorts? It might just be limit selling some long positions. De-risking. We have a decrease in open interest. But for whatever reason, somebody is sitting here limit selling into some of this, but hey, I personally wouldn't be doing it. Zozo says nobody trades BTC USD on Bybit. Why it should be relevant? I didn't know that. But then how did this 5-minute candle have 178 million volume in it with 60 million negative delta? Where's all that volume coming from if nobody trades it? I know. You're probably thinking I should use something like Binance, because why wouldn't I use Binance? That's where all the volume is. In my opinion, their data is unreliable, let's put it that way. So that's one thing that's really nice about having the ETFs as an option potentially here is there's a pretty big epidemic in order flow on these unregulated exchanges where you could probably argue that it's fugazi, as they say. The order flow is unreliable and the data is probably not clean. It's probably filtered by some of these exchanges. I would say that this data on Bybit seems quite clean. It's reliably very actionable and seems to behave. The market seems to behave in relation to it. So clean data, that's number one, right? Don't want your data coming from crooks. There's also some well, see, these contracts are collateralized by Bitcoin, right? So there's USDT. So, but all these positions are Bitcoin collateralized, which adds another dynamic to the order flow as well. Which, say, for example, if you're short, say you're 1x short or you're hedged on Bybit, or sorry, on Bitcoin, and you get stopped out of your short here, say 10.9 million, that was a 1x. Well, you actually just flipped long too. So not only is your short hedge stopped out, you're actually long at the very top here. So that can create some interesting dynamics. You're not in USDT, you're stopped out into Bitcoin. And so you're just essentially spot Bitcoin into these a move like that. Do I still get excited entering a trade after trading for a while? Not really. There's nothing really to get excited about entering a trade. I mean, by definition, when you enter a trade, you're entering where price is at. And so you don't know what's going to happen. It could be a loss, it could be a win. And I don't believe that you can see the future. There's high or low probability ideas. But I mean, I like when trades work and I make money. But I don't know. You'll probably find out on this live stream, depending on what happens, how excited I get taking a trade. This is called ExoCharts. Somebody just pinged me in the Discord. ExoCharts. That's what the name of this program is called. I want to make something clear for people. I've shown like the BlackRock ETF data. That comes from a separate company, a separate data feed. So This is like $40 a month or something, and it's like $2,500 a year for like the ETF data. For example, this is Tesla's order flow data. You don't get to which I'll just say I posted a Tesla chart the other day showing this really big bearish divergence up here. I have some nice long or high time frame ideas for Tesla I'm quite interested in. But anyways, you don't get this for free just because you bought the subscription. You pay for those data feeds and import them into here, $2,000 to $2,500 a year. If you want some of those, these traditional market data sets. Obviously, share a ton of order flow updates and like every single day in the LATF. Try to keep those pretty consistent and current. Lots of people in there sharing their order flow as well. There's another alternative. There's also some free alternatives to software like this, but some of them with more or less data. But yeah, it is funny because just the feed for this data is twice the cost of the LATF. Somebody putting in a little bit of work here at the all-time high. Again, nothing crazy, but maybe they're trying to send us back into the range, aren't they? Damn it. 10.9 million positive delta. I want to see price. Now, again, I'm telling you, I am prepared to short a rejection from all-time highs. If I take a stop, I take a stop. I've got longs pumping into this. So, you know, I'd like to be willing to put on a little bit of risk if we just get a big pop in rejection on maybe up into the 70,000, 70,500 region. I'll show what that setup would look like for me if it indeed comes. I don't know where the wick is going to come in, of course, if we do reject. This does not mean I'm closing every long I've ever taken. It's going to operate as a bit of a hedge. Looking for a big move, something compelling in order flow, and entering on a rejection, right? That's what my setup would look like. But let's get back to order flow. I already have my orders prepared if I'm going to execute a short or not. And I'm telling you, I could enter and instantly get stopped out. I do not know what's going to happen in the market. I take losses all the time. So don't think that this is going to be a Nostradamus. And whether it works or it doesn't, if it works, the same applies to my next trade. It could just get stopped out in an instant. And I'm not just going to short blindly. $5.6 million delta. Price bumping into the all-time highs. Let's get rid of this little golden box here. I'm prepared to take profits on my longs. I'm prepared to take a short if the setup looks clean and clear. And I'm prepared to hold my longs. I don't have to make any rash decisions. I have alternative plans depending on what happens. That makes sense, right? Price is just going straight up and no weakness. Why short? Why close my longs? There could be a difference between me wanting to take some profits on my longs, let the rest run, and not worry about taking shorts. 8.5 million delta. Are we crossing the all-time high barrier right now? We're still right under it, aren't we? 9.7 million. Yes, right around here. It's like 69,180 some dollars. So like right here on Bybit at least. Got some increase in open interest coming in here. This guy, he's saying, you know what? I'm getting long for the breakout. 9.4 million. On the bid. Open interest increasing. People looking for that big volatile move. And the reason I'd be interested in shorting, if I get a trigger, is simply that it'd be a simple idea like trapping some breakout long liquidity, rejecting, running the lows again, and then maybe working our way back up here later. It's just a trade idea. If I take a loss, it'll be about 1%. 16.8 million. Price still just grinding higher into the all-time highs. There, we've tapped it. I'm talking about the delta here. 40 million volume, 17, 18. There's a big pop, 30 million, 56 million volume. Again, still less volume in delta. Still substantial, but less than we just had on this wick earlier this morning at the lows. But that was negative. But got to start looking for that possibility of taking profits or firing off a short and not assuming that price just has to go straight out of all-time highs. Why not trap some liquidity? And I'm short. That is my short. Ooh, get wrecked, guys. GG. We can see what happened there, right? People tried to break out long this. We finally got, I mean, this is just classic retail traders. Finally, prices above all-time highs. Let's just all open our longs right into this wick and just get liquidated instantly. That is not the place you want to find your longs. $107 million. So this is where we need to start looking for some signs of strength off of this. Just call this a liquidation candle. Maybe don't get too greedy with profit taking on this short. Give price a chance to break down here, but I'll take a little bit of a win off here and let the rest run. 118 million, 119 million. So big volume, big negative delta coming in here. Longs getting stopped. I'm going to take profits on this. It's not the best, but I can remove the risk from the trade here. Let the rest run. Kind of taken these lows. I could have been maybe a little bit more diligent with the profit taking on this wick. I'm happy to leave some running though, because 6-9. This could be, sorry, I'm going to have to give me a second. Happy to remove the risk, but leave a little bit running. For whatever reason, I had to re-enter here with the partial position because it closed my entire position for whatever reason, but it shouldn't have. So I'm just splitting the difference. I've taken those profits. They're going to cover some of that risk. I'm not flipping back and adding to my long. There's probably some ideas for it here, taking these local lows. Let some of this volatility play out, but I wouldn't be surprised to just see us now come up and claim the all-time highs again. It'll be interesting. Wiped out a ton of this breakout long liquidity, a lot of this liquidity building up under these lows where people probably trailed their stops. 144 million delta, 29 million, or sorry, volume, 29 million delta. Let's look at IBIT. A little bit of bullish absorption forming on IBIT locally. Probably lean towards another test of the all-time highs as the more likely scenario. But we'll see. Still some longs running, obviously. But probably just be looking for lower as of now. Or structure reclaiming the highs. Someone said paper trading crashed. Happy to have a short running here. So my plan is going to be something like this. If we start seeing some concerted weakness here, and of course we could just have a huge run, but no reason to assume that. Either I get stopped out on the rest of my short, which has already profits taken from it, risks removed, that's fine. But if we start showing some more signs of weakness, I'm going to start looking to add to this short. If we start developing bearish divergences, and what an anticlimactic and devastating end this would be to the Bitcoin bull run. If we, no, I'm not saying the bull run would be ending. I'm actually looking for another wave 5. But if we did have a deep retracement, just a clean rejection. But I'm going to trade pretty, I'm going to say conservatively around these ideas in terms of profit taking. I'm happy to split and basically be in a risk-free short here from the highs for now, and have longs from lower with some profits taken on them. I'm in a good position. If we start pushing up through all-time highs again, maybe start ranging, taking this liquidity, I can take on new positions. These positions print me, I make money either way. But let's get rid of these. So local idea, come and fill these wicks, retest these highs. Probably going to be looking to take that long later today if it comes. Back up towards the range highs, maybe a push through. If we break down there, well, just, I mean, come on, look at all this liquidity. Come and wipe it all out. That'd be the other long idea. Everything else, anything can happen here. We don't have enough information. If anything really interesting happens after this is interesting. I mean, but this is just like a clear liquidity order flow idea, looking to trap breakout longers, wipe out that liquidity. I wouldn't call it a problem, but the thing that makes deeper a little less likely is how much liquidity there was right here. 148 million volume, 30 million delta. It's essentially a way of saying that, oh, the liquidity may have just been wiped out already. And so I'd probably lean towards higher. So let's sit on the oh, I was on the wrong thing. Sorry. Yeah, 148 million, 30 million delta. Yeah, I would probably, like I said, lean towards just a move higher locally, which is why I took profits on my shorts. If there was hardly any volume in delta in this candle, we just had a breakdown or relatively low volume in delta, I might be a little bit more willing to have just held that short the whole thing deeper. Or, of course, the possibility of just a big run in liquidation. But that's not what happened, so that's not how I traded it. There's the possibility of it, but I think I made the right choice just taking profits on that short here. We'll find out eventually. Cool, cool, cool. Somebody says 83K after halving. Nice. So we try again. I'm not going to be looking to reshort the highs here. Willing just to take the little partial win on that short. Call it a scalp. Simply because of that liquidity grab. And where it could have made sense, like if you were a scalping god, come and get long off this little wick through the lows and reclaim. Grab that liquidity, stops piled under here too. Scalp long back into this. But a little late for that idea. The context of it's all driven in this area of the chart. Someone said, how did I take profit so quick? It was all preset. All my positions are preset that I'm looking to trade. My size is in, my stop loss is in. But you can also just close parts of your position, which is pretty quick. You just market close. Is it optimal? Would I, in hindsight, to have preferred just having a limit order TPing right here? Probably. But what would I have done if price just went straight down? So let's, because I mean the idea of shorting here is probably more of starts off as more of a swing trade idea, or looking for deeper liquidity, but that changes for me really quickly when I see 148 million volume in this and all that negative delta. I have to be a little bit less optimistic about the targets for the shorts. Rather controlling the risk, and I'm happy for the small win. Probably looking for higher, like I said. But okay, so let's put it this way. I've covered everything that I think coming into this, these levels. I don't really think I have anything else to say. I'll update order flow throughout the day in the Discord. You know what? If you're interested in this kind of thing and you want to learn more about it and you want to see these types of updates on a daily basis and educational content, come join the Lucky Apes trading floor. Try it out. See if you like it. We got a great community. Yeah, and you know, develop the skills and learn some of the things you need to learn to navigate this stuff on your own. There's plenty of members. I don't even have to ask to know that there's plenty of members that did and would have just taken. I've taken them for the same reasons. Completely self-sufficient. I bet you there's some traders that got this long. That's what I'll be annoyed to see. They've got TP1 locked in, Probably had limit orders set there. But yeah. Anyways, we sat here for a couple hours. We caught the all-time high. The all-time high was a little wick here. We shorted it. And you will see, like a trade like that, I mean, it's a little bit less, you don't really have a lot of time to react. Like I have the order set in, I'm marketing into it instantly. I'm just making a decision, right? I have my risk managed. Either I take it or I don't, and I just need to take it. And even with profit taking, I'm trading the volatility around this liquidity. I make a decision. I'm either going to take profits or I'm not. I just take it. And now I can find different setups. There's definitely cleaner. I mean, there's certain ideas and setups where you have a little bit more time to make decisions. Something like this, a wick through the all-time highs. Not so much. But anyways. All right. Well, hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, good. And we'll talk later.